Good morning, happy Friday, and I hope we all had a wonderful Independence Day yesterday. Okay, so I have 2 episodes of Amphibia worth talking about, as well as quite a few other things, so how about we get started? So, this is episode 11, which is Grub Hog Day and Hop Poppin' Lock. Now, Grub Hog Day, there was a sort of a festival going on, Grub Hog, and basically the Grub Hog works similar to Groundhog Day, where, the Grub Hog, appears and basically the weather is predicted based on, it coming up. I'll get into that in a second. So Hop Pop volunteers Sprig to be sort of the what's the word? The MC for the event. Even though Sprig doesn't really want to, he wants to have fun at the fair. But Hop Pop reminds him that it was actually one of their ancestors who messed up the being the MC in the first place, and it disgraced their family name, so Sprig has no choice but to do it, plus he wants to make Hop Pop proud, and so they decide to do have fun at the fair, but they take the Grub Hog, with them, so, keep an eye on him, which you sort of know where this is going, but, they're having fun, all is good, but then a giant bird takes the Grub Hog away and flies away, so what happens is, in preparation for the ceremony, Anne actually makes a sock puppet that looks like the Grub Hog. And so, the puppet actually works for a little bit up until they take the Grub Hog, and apparently they're supposed to cut it open. And if there are spots on the liver, there are 2 more weeks of winter. Anne is panicking. Sprig's like, I thought you had something like, I thought this is what you do back where you're from. It was nothing like this. See, the old groundhog show thing. But eventually it turns out that, before the whole cutting open of the puppet thing, Anne was kind of selling how good the Grub Hog was and, having fun with Sprig, sort of doing like, puppet show type shenanigans, which was great. I actually do kind of like that sort of humor. Actually, I do really like that humor. But it turns out that, they confess, and they actually like the puppet so much that instead of, what they were doing before, they just decide, have a puppet show be essentially the ceremony. Everyone seemed to like it, and then it works. So, all works out in the end. But the episode ends with the Grub Hog and the bird that carried him off having a conversation like, thank you for saving me, old friend. Like, nothing for, everything for what you did for, my people in the past. What do we do? To war, friend. To war. That was great. That was a funny way to end the episode. And then the next half of the episode is Hop Poppin' Lock, which, Hop Pop finds sort of an old flame he has, and he wants to impress her, but then he runs into his apparent rival named Monroe, and so basically Anne teaches Hop Pop how to dance in order to, impress her. And eventually, and this is the joke that got me, Hop Pop eventually got so good, Anne's like, nice job, Hop Pop, or should I call you Hip Hop? And then Hop Pop is like, that reference means nothing to me. Oh, that actually got me. But it turns out that Monroe is also a really good dancer, so, Hop Pop decides, you know what, I'm gonna do it my way, and turns out Sylvia, actually, that's the woman's name that Hop Pop is pining over, Sylvia, actually likes that, and so, they sort of end up together, and, that was really nice. So, all in all, Grub Hog Day and Hop Poppin' Lock, really good episode, considering, considering how sort of emotionally heavy episode 10 was. Episode 11 provided just the right amount of levity to sort of, bring you back a little bit, because you sort of need that. And so, now we move on to episode 12, which is Civil Wart and Hop Popular. So, Civil Wart is, instead of, so once a month they have sort of a theater night, where, they have, like, this acting troupe come to Wartwood and, perform for them, but it turns out that the acting troupe got eaten. So Anne decides to show them a teen romance movie. it's basically, the teen romance movie was basically making fun of, like, Twilight and, like, several other YA novels, which, alright, I like that kind of humor, but it turns out that it formed a love triangle, and, the town was split on who the love triangle should end up, becoming, with Sprig and Polly being the ringleaders. See, the episode starts off with Sprig always having to, cater to his little sister Polly, but, that's what big brothers do. But, Sprig is tired of that, so, basically this was his way of sticking up for himself, and, Polly already made her choice as to who she wanted the love triangle to end up being. And so the town goes to war, but then, so basically Ann and Hop Hop try and, find a way to, fix it, which, again, in the end, they get so that a bunch of the people who are on Sprig's side were about to attack Polly, but Sprig saves Polly, and so, they're like, can we stop this whole arguing, please? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then Ann's like, wait, that ended just like that? And then Hop Hop's like, oh, you should see what happened when around this sort of time last year. We nearly burned the entire town to the ground. So, yeah, that was really good. And then, Hot Popular is the next episode where, a lot of people are getting really fed up with how the mayor is running things, so Hop Hop decides to, run for mayor. And now a few episodes ago, Hop Hop lost his vegetable stand, so he has to sort of try and make ends meet by, I guess, illegally selling his, vegetables from, an alley. In the end, Hop Hop does, instill hope in the people, and he does become popular in the town of Wortwood, but unfortunately he loses the election because Hop Hop didn't campaign to the entire valley. He got 100% of the vote from the entire town of Wortwood, but there's apparently 2,200 or 22,000 people, individuals in the valley. So, yeah, the rest of them all voted for the mayor. So, the episode ends with the town giving Hop Hop a new stand for, instilling hope. So, it was a really nice episode. I mean, sometimes, it's trying to show that, a moral victory can always be better than an actual physical victory. Plus, as long as you try and be a good person, good things will come to you. So that was nice. All in all, 2 really awesome episodes. Great way to end the week of Amphibia. And now we have 8 episodes left. We are now 60% of the way through Amphibia, which, of course, I love the show. I'm going to continue to watch it because I want to see what happens next. But unfortunately, I will need to wait until Monday, July 8th. So, there we go. Now, if you can believe it, in spite of everything I talked about yesterday, there was still a couple things I didn't really, say. The first involves, I said that one analogy for the masters at the Elbow Room is like finding a pearl inside of an oyster. Another way I like to look at it is, because, again, while the Masters is the best item that the Elbow Room has on their menu, their most popular item are the wings. I'm pretty sure anyone from, the Elmira Big Flats Horseheads Corning area who's been in the Elbow Room can agree with me on that. So, I like to think of it as, if the wings are the icing on an already delicious cake, then the Masters would be that scoop of ice cream that you have next to a piece of said cake. Now, it's awesome and it's great, but, if the cake is that good, you don't really need the ice cream, unless, you're really in the mood for it. So, yeah. But, again, that is in no way, lowering how awesome the Masters at the Elbow Room is, because even though it's clearly named after the part of the tour of the PGA, it's not the only reason why it is named the Masters. I guess in a way you could refer to it as the master of the menu. So there we go. At least in terms of, food items. Another thing I'd like to mention is, I said that the shrimp scampi at Libs is the best thing I've ever eaten, and I haven't found any seafood dish that, compares, or, nothing holds a candle to it. And that's not entirely true. I did find one thing that came very close. One thing. I'd like to make a mention about it because it really is worth talking about. And it's actually at one of the places where you can get, best places to get a bite of eat at Keuka Lake, or as I refer to it as the Keuka Baker's Culinary Dozen, and that is at the Pleasant Valley Inn in Hammondsport. It's actually run by from what I remember, it's run by a husband and wife duo in which the wife is, I don't mean to sound sexist, but no kidding, the wife really is the one in the kitchen, cooking all the dishes, whatever. Shut up, I don't mean to be sexist, that really is what it's like there. The husband is sort of the greeter and the host, and his wife is, again, working in the kitchen. But I swear I'm not being sexist. That really is the thing. And I'm just saying this right now. That woman knows exactly what she is doing, because, no kidding, the scallops at the Pleasant Valley Inn are the one thing I've had that comes close to the shrimp scampi at Libs. I am not kidding. So, yeah, wanted to mention that. And speaking of the shrimp scampi at Libs, I said that it's obviously the best thing I've ever eaten, and, if any of my brothers were to come and visit me, I would take them to either Libs or Moretti's for dinner. Where they would like to go would be their choice, but considering I've rambled on about the shrimp scampi, I'm pretty sure I know which one they would pick. Full disclosure, your enjoyment of the shrimp scampi at Libs, and again, anyone who's ever had the shrimp scampi at Libs would be able to agree with me on this. Your overall enjoyment of it would boil down to how much you like garlic, because there's a lot of it in there. Now, granted, I adore garlic. I love garlic so much that I can make a mean garlic bread, in fact. But, garlic can be an overpowering ingredient to the point where some people don't like it. So, take that, as you will. But yes, you now know not only what my entire full course menu is, but the best thing I've ever eaten. And you know what? Have the scallops from the Pleasant Valley Inn be like the honorable mention for the best thing I've ever eaten. There you go. That works. So yeah, you never know. And with that taken care of, Adam Devine on Hot Ones. Okay. Now, one of my oldest and dearest friends from Gettysburg College, who was also one of my teammates, is a huge Workaholics fan. In fact, I have several friends who are huge Workaholics fans. So, to any of my friends who are huge Workaholics fans, it's definitely an episode you gotta check out. Which, by the way, Adam Devine took it like a champ. He was able to, he still suffered the problems from spicy wings, to be sure. But he was able to handle himself pretty well, which, right on. And, okay, so there's a new chapter of One Piece that came out. And so, it's funny, because I was actually preparing to talk about this all week, because I knew that there wasn't going to be any hiatus, right? So, this week is chapter 948. Now, obviously, we have 52 chapters left until we get to chapter 1000. So basically, if there's a new chapter every week, by this time next year, so literally 4th of July of 2020, we would be at chapter 1000. One problem, though. That is assuming that there are no breaks. Which obviously means instead of, a chapter being the next week, it would be 2 weeks from then. And sure enough, there is going to be a break next week. So, with that said, I predict there's going to be at the bare minimum, there's going to be 10 breaks in between now and chapter 1000. So, 10 weeks from now would be, I do believe it would be just about October of 2020, or mid to late September of 2020, when we finally reach chapter 1000. So again, that's my prediction. I honestly hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes sooner. I hope there are not as many breaks because I love reading about One Piece. I love talking about, or not really spoiling One Piece necessarily. But I will say this, and when I put a link in the description, I'll be able to, you'll see for yourself. The chapter ends on like an awesome panel of like heroes assembling. And it's awesome. I love panels like that. But again, you'll see when I put a link in the description below. So, yeah, kind of a lot to talk about. I know I may have kind of rushed over those 2 episodes of Amphibia, but there was a lot to talk about, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get to all the main points, anyway. But, yeah, it was great. Amphibia was great. The Adam Divine on Hot Ones was awesome. Even though we're going to get a break for One Piece next week, the chapter this week was awesome. So, yeah, overall, it was a pretty awesome July 4th. So I hope everyone had a happy Independence Day. And to all my Facebook friends, I'll be sure to post exactly what the entire full course menu is in earnest. Now the best thing I've ever eaten in the honorable mention. Like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on the social media platforms. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I hope we all have a wonderful Friday. And remember, for you guys that want to talk to chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices. And provided I get the permission to talk about this, I actually have some news to share. See you then.